Here are 3 ways of determining a proper set point for a low gas pressure switch. The first criteria you should consider when setting a low gas pressure switch is the manufacturer's recommended setting. Bam! On a lot of packaged boilers, the manufacturer has already determined the proper setting of the low gas pressure switch. You should always set the switch to the setting, and this setting can normally be found in a manufacturer's data or the test fire report for that specific piece of equipment. Criteria 2. The second criteria would be not less than 50% of the burner's main manifold pressure. The main manifold pressure is the gas supplied to the inlet of the gas train of the burner. So if the burner manufacturer specifies 20 inches of water column to be the minimum incoming main manifold pressure or minimum incoming gas pressure, then our low gas pressure switch would not be less than 50% of it. So our minimum setting for the switch would be 10, because 10 is the maximum of 50% of 20. The third method is actually doing real world testing of where the switch set point should be. So in the previous example, we had a minimum inlet to our gas train of 20 inches of water column. And the manufacturer has determined that that is the minimum gas pressure that needs to be supplied to the burner gas train, but that does not mean that it's going to be our low gas pressure set point. Our low gas pressure set point is going to be lower than the minimum supplied pressure to the burner of the gas train. So in this example, if we're supplying 20 inches of water column, which is the exact minimum for the inlet for the gas train, we're going to slowly lower the inlet gas pressure while the burner is firing with a combustion analyzer that is monitoring the flue gas. When we start seeing unstable combustion or higher than 400 ppm, parts per million of CO, that is going to be our low gas pressure set point. But we always have to remember that the bare minimum was the second criteria, and that is the no less than 50% of the main manifold pressure. So even if the burner was somehow running fine and we determined that 8 inches of water column was the correct set point of the low gas pressure switch, the bare minimum that we would be able to set it at is the 10 inches, which is the not less than 50% of the main manifold pressure. But in this example, we may find that the proper setting of the low gas pressure switch would be 14 or 15 inches. And that set point is closer to the minimum incoming gas pressure that the manufacturer has stated for the gas train. The higher the low gas pressure set point is, the safer it is, but we want to make sure that we're not setting it so close to the actual gas pressure that we're having nuisance trips. So let's graph this out real quick. So we have an actual main manifold pressure of 30 inches of water column. That is our measured gas pressure. So we know from our criteria 2 that we cannot have a low gas pressure setting of less than 50% of the main manifold pressure. So in this example, our low gas pressure setting minimum would be at 15 inches of water column. So that's our minimum. And then now we've looked at our manufacturer test fire report and they don't have a minimum setting. Now we may go back and test and find that 20 inches is where we want our setting to be on our low gas pressure switch. But a lot of gas pressure switches are set from 3 to 21 or 3 to 60 or have different ranges. And we're going to avoid any set point below the 15 inches of water column, because we always have to be mindful that we are never going to set our low gas pressure switch less than 50% of the rated main manifold pressure. And that is the 3 criteria for setting the set point on a low gas pressure switch. If you want more in-depth training and resources, go to boilearn.com, go to the training tab, where you can access the Boilearn training site, where we are uploading new courses meant for service companies and service techs who are actually fixing boilers.